Hi there, everyone. Hazel here from One Solitary Witch. One of the things I get asked most often is how do I create my own spells? And it's really not as difficult or as intimidating as you might think. In fact, creating your own spells will hold far more power than ones that you find off the internet or from a book that someone else created. Now, don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong with finding a spell off the internet, but I highly recommend that you play with it, that you tweak it to make it your own. That way it fits your needs and it's not just someone else's work. Okay, so to create your own spell, what you need to do is just start researching. Hit the internet, grab some books, and then figure out what you need for your spell. So here I'm just going to create a simple release spell. And I'm just making this up as I go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reference some books that I have. Or like I said, you could go to the internet. So I'm going to think, what herbs do I want to use? Do I want to use candles? Are there certain incense I want to burn? Do I want to create sigils? It's entirely up to you how complex you want the spell to be. But if you're just starting off, I recommend just sticking to simple spells. And there is nothing wrong with a simple spell. Just remember, these are all tools. Your intent is what is the most powerful magic you have. You can be a powerful witch with nothing more than sitting on your couch and manifesting your own intentions out into the universe. All of this stuff is just extra tools that you just enjoy having and working with. Okay, so a release spell. That means letting go. I want to let go of some things right now, some things I'm holding on to. So I'm going to grab one of my books. This is one of my favorite books here. It's an encyclopedia of magical herbs, and it's by Scott Cunningham. And it's just that. It's an entire encyclopedia of every herb you could possibly imagine in their magical correspondence. So I already marked a page because I already know from experience a particular herb that I want to use for this spell, and that's a bay leaf. And a bay leaf, they're so wonderful. But one of the things that they are used for is you can write down wishes per se, or like feelings or emotions onto them, and then you could burn them, releasing that out into the universe. So, okay, I've decided I want to burn bay leaves for my spell. And then you might want to think about, well, what phases of the moon would be good for that? So I have this book, and I had some pages marked, and then I took the bookmarks out. Whoopsie. So you're going to look here, and, you, like I said, look on the internet, a book, whatever, and you can figure out what phases of the moon would be best for this particular spell. I'm going to do this spell during the dark moon. I personally like to do my release work during the dark moon, also referred to as the new moon, just because it symbolizes letting go and then the beginning of something new. You can also think about maybe if you want to perform it on a certain day of the week. You can think about candles and the color of a candle. I'm going to use a black candle for this spell, because that is a good color that references releasing negativity. Okay, so when you start your spell, think of it as a recipe. Like if you are into cooking or you like cooking, you often follow a recipe. So it's kind of similar, really. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your boss, which I recommend everyone have a boss, and that's a Book of Shadows. This is one of mine. I have a few. And this is just something that I keep my spells in. I have another one for dreams. I have another one just for random notes that I want to write down. Okay, so you're going to start off, and as you can see here, I just wrote down a basic list of quote-unquote ingredients, as you will, for my spell. Things that I want to use. And then below it, I'm going to write down the steps of the spell that I'm going to take. So I'm going to go ahead and do that next, and then I'll pick up the video when I have that part finished. Okay, so once you get your ingredients written down, you want to write the bulk of the spell, what your steps are going to be. And this is just a really simple one that I created. And if you want to get really fancy with your words, go for it. I am not very creative. I cannot rhyme my words together for anything. That is just not my strong suit at all. Grammar and spelling were my weakest subject at school. As you could probably imagine from my videos, I'm constantly stumbling over my own words. Oh my gosh. Okay, anyways. So as you can see, I just wrote basically the steps of the spell and some words that I would like to use when I perform this spell, and then what to do afterwards. And that's basically it. And the most important thing is just practice. Practice what you create. Keep track of what works and what doesn't, and you'll get better at it. And then you can figure out what works for you and what doesn't. And, I highly recommend grabbing some of these books, especially this one, the Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs one that I showed you a few seconds ago, because it really comes in handy. There are times when I think, oh, I want to use mint in a spell, but then, oh, my mint in my garden isn't growing right now. What else can I use? So you just reference the book, or you could go to the internet and, figure out what substitutions would work. So that's basically it. It's really not as complex or as hard as you think. And like I said, if you're more comfortable with finding a spell off the internet and then maybe tweaking it a little bit to make it your own until you get the hang of it, go for it. You do what's comfortable for you. And don't let anyone else, including myself, tell you how to be a witch. You got to follow your instincts, follow your heart, and be true to yourself. All right, so I hope you enjoyed watching. Till next time.